Welcome to my Premier League predictions. This will be a very controversial video, as all predictions are. I'm looking forward to getting into it. Season's starting soon, so it'll be good to get into it and do the predictions, and my first lot of predictions for YouTube. So let's get right into it. I'm going to be flicking between both Transfermarkt, showing me the transfers of every club, just so I can rate how they can perform with who they've brought in and who they've lost. So I'm going to start off at the bottom. The unfortunate three teams who I think are going to go down to the Championship. The first one won't be too difficult to decipher. It's Norwich City. It's not a giant shout of, oh, this is a surprising pick. Everyone thinks they're going to go down, because looking at their team and who they've brought in, well, the biggest thing for them is losing Emi Buendia, who is very key for them in this last Premier League season they had. To lose him to Villa, it's big. They got big money for him, but when you look at it, who else they've lost? Really, not many players. But they've lost their key creative outlet. They've obviously lost a few players who was brought in last time. Leitner, Vrancic was there in the last Premier League season. But who they've brought in to replace some key players, got Solis, I think that's how you say it. Rashika, Sargent, Giannolius. I don't know why they brought in so many great players. Lees Malou. They're players that can fill out depth for the 38 games that they'll play. They're depth players, really. And these guys may return. I don't think Rashika and Sargent, as much as I like the signings, I don't think they're going to perform. To come into the Premier League with no prior experience is very different from the Bundesliga. Different physicality, different speed. I doubt that they'll make an impact. I think Ben Gibson is a great signing for them. Really shores up their defence, adds the Premier League experience they need for the level. Billy Gilmour is, again, it's a great acquisition, like Oliver Skipp was last season for them. He will be their Oliver Skipp of the Championship, now to be in the Premier League. But at the end of the season, Norwich will be a Championship team again. So 19th place, second bottom. Again, this is going to be another promoted team being relegated. Unfortunately, Watford are going to go back down. Let's find Watford and look at who they've brought in and got rid of. Watford, okay. So let's figure they've lost. So they lost Dawson, but you won there last season, so that's okay. Really no one massive they've lost. The only player you can argue really is Zinchenko. I'm pretty sure he's quite good for them in the Championship. Obviously he's not ready for the Premier League yet. But they've not really lost anyone that is big for them. But who they've brought in, it's a bit different. Because they've made signings that really won't impact them much. When you look at Emmanuel Dennis, yeah, he's a good player. Again, he comes from the Bundesliga, which again is different physicality. To the Premier League, it's a lot different. Josh King, pointless signing. He was pointless last season. He's going to go get relegated at the end of the season, if he makes it that far. Danny Rose again, it's a desperation signing. They need experience, and yeah, he can bring that experience, but is he a great player that can make an impact? I don't think so. And then you got older players like Kuchka coming from Parma on loan. Again, I'm not sure he'll make a big impact for them, mainly because he's a 35-year-old coming into the Premier League. It's a lot different to playing in the Serie A, where it's a lot slower. When he comes up against midfields like Chelsea, Liverpool, Man City, Man United, he'll get overrun. Even, that's just the way it is. Although United's midfield ain't great. So in 18th position, third bottom, the final team going down. For me, it's between two teams. It's between Southampton and Newcastle for me. and I feel like it's going to be Southampton going down, unfortunately. Mainly for the fact that they've lost their the main centre back and the main striker. Losing them two is going to be very key to go against them. Lamina was at Fulham last year, so that doesn't really make a difference to their team at the moment. Bertrand was their main left back pretty much. To lose him, again, it's not good. But, you know, that's one of the reasons they're going to go down, because they got rid of their players for positions they haven't brought in. So obviously they lost a centre back and a striker. They haven't filled them with the quality. Bench players, rotation players, you know. And then when you look who they brought in, so replacing Danny Ings, you've got Adam Armstrong, who failed at Newcastle, couldn't break the wall into the first team. So losing him, bringing in Armstrong, on my apologies, is it's going to be different to Ings. To bring a 24-year-old in, young player, in a little bit, to bring him in to try and replace Danny Ings' goals, it's going to be a very tough ask. I mean, obviously they brought in a new left back, Parad. Don't know much about him. Don't know if he's done any good. So it's gonna be it'll be time will tell with him if he can replace Bertrand. Walcott, he was there last year. He's just a nostalgia player. You know, he's come back. He's not going to do much to galvanise that team to bring them forward. I don't think they're staying up, and that's why I put them there. So just in the 17th position, these two positions could change quite easily. It's the team I was going to put in a relegation zone. It's Newcastle United. I mean, you can tell I think they're going to go down when you look at who they've brought in. They've brought in one player. It's not good enough to stay in the Premier League to bring one player in, but they are going to, or they might not. It's literally Southampton and Newcastle could easily flip at the end of the season. When we revisit this, Newcastle could have gone down, Southampton could have stayed up, or they both could have gone down. We'll see. But to bring one player in, although how good Willock is, he's one goal away on his debut for beating Alan Shearer's record for consecutive games and goals, so it's an incentive for him to perform in the first game of the season. And the players they've lost, not really first team players. I think the only first team player really is Andy Carroll. He didn't do much last season. He hasn't done much since he's returned to Newcastle. It's obviously sad to see him go, because he once was a very hot prospect and now he's without a club at 32, so it's not great. Lejeune, again, not last season, but he was a starter for them the season before. So, again, he's gone to Alaves for an undisclosed fee. It's a centre back they've lost and haven't replaced, so that's Mark Ashley for you. Obviously, with Newcastle, not much to talk about. I think they'll just stay up because of Willock. I think he'll carry that team into safety, or could switch anytime. So, into 16th position, it's going to be Crystal Palace. This will be Zaha's last year, if he makes it to the end of the year, if he don't get sold in January. But it's going to be not a great year. First, we'll talk about who's left. They've lost quite a lot of players. When you look at the main left back, main centre back, the other main centre back, the replacement centre back, they've lost so many first team players and got no money for them. It's absolutely incredible, honestly. How they've managed to let all their players go for no money. Yeah, it's not great. Obviously, Hennessy wasn't the starter, but he has been there. He has been the starter for them. McCarthy not so much. He had that horrible injury, so I think they'll rue the loss of Arnholt, Sacco, Dan, and Cahill. They'll be the main ones that they're gonna wish they not got rid of, and hope all should got money for them, you know. And who they've brought in to replace them. The fact that they've signed that Mark Guehi, who was on loan at Swansea last season in the Championship, for 21 million, I think that's... I can't believe Chelsea got 21 million for a centre-back they would have loaned out quite easily. To be quite honest, the fact that he costs more than Joachim Andersen is crazy. Because Joachim Andersen was probably the light spark for Fulham before they got relegated. Because he looked quite good. Obviously, he's not the only defender, so you can say, oh, how can he be good if they got relegated? He's not the only defender in the team. So he was the best centre-back or defender at the club at the time, so I'm surprised that Guehi cost more. I know he's younger, but he didn't do too well because Swansea didn't get promoted, but they got to the playoffs. You can say they're probably unlucky not to get promoted, but I don't feel like he was the one that galvanised them to the playoffs. But hey ho, we'll see how he does. Maybe he could be PFA Young Player of the Year. Anything can happen in this league. It's a crazy league. But Palace, they could go down, but I don't think they will. Mainly because of Zaha. He might carry them and get sold in the winter. 15th position is going to be Burnley. The complete definition of mid-table mediocrity. Well, not even mid-table, sort of lower table. They will stay there for a long while because of Sean Dyche. Because of how good Sean Dyche is. I think he's now the Premier League's longest serving manager, which just goes to show. I think he's been there 10 years, and in 8 years he's been in the Premier League, so he's done wonders. And he sets out a goal for every game, and Burnley always find a way to execute what Dyche wants. The low block and the quick counter-attack, long balls, all the things to annoy the big clubs, because the big clubs hate the low blocks. We saw it last season when you got Burnley that beat Liverpool at Anfield as well. It's just the way they play, you know. It's not great football to watch, but it's effective. Who they've lost, we'll go with that first. They lost Jimmy Dunn, who I think did quite well for them, but obviously not because they got rid of him. Peacock Farrell wasn't really a starter. Brady was a starter. Sad to see him go. He'd been there for a while. Gibson didn't really play. And who they brought in, Collins from Stoke, don't really know much about him. As a lot of these players, time will tell them when they come up from the Championship. He's a young Irish centre-back, so he could be quite useful. Maybe not this season, but the next season. Depends how he develops under Sean Dyche and in that system. When Hennessy be the backup to Pope, I don't know if Pope's still injured, but Hennessy will be the backup for him. Jacob Bedou, don't really know much about him. I can't say I've watched many Scunthorpe United games to really have a say on him, but Burnley will be a team that will shock some of the big boys this season, get a few shock results. That's what Burnley does. So Burnley will finish 15th. Now we go to 14th now. I'm going to go with Brentford. Brentford won't be in the fear of relegation. They'll have a steady and slow season. It'll be quite a long season for them against some of the clubs they're going to play. Brentford, here we are. But I think it'll be a long season for them. It's different kettle of fish from going from the Championship to the Premier League in the first season. If you can manage to do what Bournemouth did, and even other clubs like they've come up, like like Burnley, you know. If you can manage to get past that first season, you should do well for the second season because all the money you'll get from staying up. So if you can navigate that first season, you'll be good going forward. The players they've lost, some of the starters been Dalsgaard. He was very good for them. Championship. You know, you hear a lot about him. Obviously, it's a Danish team mainly because the manager and stuff, so it's that Scandinavian area. Marcondes, I don't think he wanted to leave, but I don't think he got off the money that he probably wanted. So he was quite a key player for them. Obviously, Luke Daniels probably not as much, and Balcombe, young player, don't really know much about him. But it's key to the players they've brought in. I love the signing of Frank Onyeka from Midtjylland. He is a phenomenal midfielder. He's that very combative, quick midfielder, very strong physically, a lot of stamina. He'll run for ages. Seeing him in the Champions League, I think it was last season or the season before, he was the key part for Midtjylland, and he'll do well in the Brentford system because They like to play that quick football on the floor, not many long balls. Same with Ayer, he's the sort of CDM slash centre back, playing both positions. He did well for Celtic, so I'm surprised they let him go. But for them to get, say, about 15 million for him, it's quite good money for Celtic, because obviously they run the league, so it's good for them. Vissa, I'm not quite sure. I think I know him if I saw his face. No, not really. From Lorient, I'm guessing he's a pacey left winger for the counter-attacks that they can play, because I think they might set up a low block against the bigger teams, or they might just go head-to-head with them, like other teams have in the past, and got Leeds when they come up. They're, instead of playing the low block against the big boys, they're actually playing the football against them to try and beat them that way, and it might work sometimes, it might work none of the times, you know. It's very 50-50 with them, but I think Brentford will have a steady but slow season for them in their first season back in the Premier League since the 40s, I think it is. So in the unlucky 13th position, I'm going to go Wolves. Oh, before I decided to do these predictions, I said Wolves were going to finish lower. Maybe, you know, getting relegated, but I think the more I've thought it, they can't get relegated, surely. You know, that's just silly to think that. I know they've lost their main goalkeeper, Patricio. You could even say they've lost their main striker, because will Jimenez be the same player? Will Jimenez be the same player he was this season beforehand? You don't know. I know he scored in pre-season, but pre-season's different to the actual league. Will he be able to perform to the level that they need him to? Time will tell. Coming in, they've made Ait-Nouri, who I like. They've made him permanent. He's in now. Jose Sar's come in to replace the goalkeeper. The last time we saw a goalkeeper from Olympiacos come in was Roberto from West Ham, and look how that turned out. Might not be the same, but Jose Sá will not be ready to take Patricio's number one spot. I mean, he will have to, but he won't play to how they need him to. I don't think he'll make as many saves as Patricio has and against them. Trincão's come in from Barca. I don't think he'll make a big impact, to be quite honest. I think it's a desperation signing, because Barca need to offload players. He's Portuguese, he fits the bill of what Wolves are trying to achieve. I think the Wolves, what's the sort of word, the Wolves transformation, the Wolves test is over with the fact that Nuno's gone now, and they're bringing in other players, sort of older players now. I'd personally think it's over. I think Neves will leave this winter or next season, and it will just fall apart from there, and Wolves could go back down. We shall see coming forward, but it don't look good for Wolves going forward this season. Like Brentford, this could easily change, but I think like Brentford have a slow and long season for them. So in 12th position, we're going to go Brighton and Hove Albion. Expected goals FC. The hipsters' favourite team, as the Irish guy would say. And I would sort of agree, because everyone loves Brighton because of the football they play, and they're like top on expected goals or whatever. But this is who they've brought in, who they've lost, and obviously the big one. They somehow managed to cue Arsenal into getting more than 50 million for Ben White, which is insane. Jahan Bash, he sort of was their winger. I shouldn't be glossing over Ben White. Ben White is a massive loss. Let's be real. I don't personally rate Ben White, but he's probably the best defender, maybe. Sort of him and Dunk are very. Maybe Dunk was the better one, but Ben White is a lot younger. But I don't think. Obviously, it'd be a big loss for him, but I don't see him making a giant impact at Arsenal. We'll get into that when we talk about Arsenal. But they've lost Ben White, got 50 million for him. They lost Jahan Bash, a sort of rotation winger. Proper was the starter. Bernardo, not much. Don't know about much about Jan Maklar. Don't really know much about him. Matty Ryan was one that was quite surprising. Obviously, they loaned him out last year, but they actually got rid of him now. I thought he might have come back and took that #1 spot again, but no, he's gone officially. Full transfer, no loan. He's gone. Matt Clark, not much of an impact last year. He wasn't there. Mitoma, Ostigard, Escudero again, a player that wasn't really getting game time. So, you know, it's not much of a loss. But who they brought in, very similar to Frank Onyeka. Mwepu he's a great centre. He's a great centre mid. It reminds me of Kante the way he plays, sort of running around, being that very competitive midfielder. He just runs for days, and he likes to nick the ball off people. He's got that skill about him where he can just nip in front of you, take the ball, run away and make a pass. He's quick with the passes. He's not get the ball, run, touch, look, lose ball. He'll get the ball, look up, make a pass, and that's what you want in a midfielder. Again, not sure. Oh, he's a really tall guy, isn't it? Yeah, the one coming from Ajax, was it? Yeah, there you go, Ajax, yeah. He might be the #1, depending on the battle between him and Sanchez. We will see about that. Again, I don't know much about Mitoma, so he must have been loaned in last season. Or they must have signed him, then loaned, I don't know. But I think for Brighton, again, it might be another... We're top of the league in expected goals, but we're 13th. We're 12th, sorry. So... It's a 50-50 season, Brighton. They could finish top of the league or 12th. Depends how the players play. So in 11th now, we're getting to some of the big teams. I think the next team here will be Everton. Everyone's favourite team. Everton. Before we talk about who they've brought in, let's talk about who they've lost. Not much. They haven't lost many key players, to be quite honest. Bernard wasn't really playing much, same as Walcott, who was on loan last year. Pennington is a write-off. King, who's a write-off. Banagimi? I don't know. Again, didn't really play. Besic didn't really play. Balassi didn't really play, so they haven't really lost main first-team players. Maybe Bernard's the only big one that they've lost, and to lose them for less than $1 million as well, that's quite... Well, you know, it's big. Because look at his market value, it's around 9-10 million. To lose for less than $1 million is crazy. But who they've brought in, if you were to tell me in 2017, 2018, that Everton just signed Demarai Gray, Andros Townsend and Asmir Begovic, I would say that's a great window for them. They're sort of good players that can make an impact in the Premier League. But you tell me they signed them 3 players in 2021, and it doesn't scare me. You know, as a Liverpool fan, it doesn't scare me that they're going to come out of the shadow of Liverpool and take over the city. They aren't really great signings that aren't going to make a huge impact. The fact that Demarai Gray's joined for less than 2 million says all you need to know, because no other team come in for him for 2 million. That's... Some people might say that's a bargain. It's a bargain of the season, 2 million, because you can sell him for profit any time, but I don't think he'll make an impact. Same with Townsend. I do like Townsend, but he just scores wonder goals once every 4 months, you know? That's what he is. That's what he's known for, is wonder goals. It's not a bad thing to be known for, but you need to have technical ability. I don't think he's got that. I don't think he'll make a big impact for them. Begovic will be the backup to Pickford in the cup games, or if Pickford gets injured. You know, maybe Cam might get him this season. From what he did to Virgil last year, but you know, things happen. I think Everton, sort of like these last few teams, it'll be a long season, but I think they'll do just fine. No threat of relegation, because Rafa will steady the ship. It's sad to see Rafa at Everton, but he's got to do what he's got to do to feed his family and put food on the table and stuff, so even if it's take a job with his biggest rivals, and it is what it is. So in 10th place, that's where it gets tricky. I'm going to go Arsenal. Now I'm recording this before the Arsenal-Brentford game, so bear that in mind. Here we go, Arsenal. Who have they lost? They've now lost Willock, as today I think it was permanent. They've lost Guendouzi on loan. Willock didn't really play, he was on loan last year, so that's fine. Not making a big impact from the team last year. Guendouzi was out on loan. Saliba was out on loan. Iliev don't play. I'm really sad about the David Luiz leaving, because there won't be any more funny moments of David Luiz being David Luiz, you know. That's sad to see. Ceballos, I think they're looking to get that permanent. Oh no, it's just Odegaard they're trying to get permanent, sorry. Ceballos, I'm not surprised they're not going to have him back. I don't think he played too well for them. A lot of fans didn't like him. He was, I think he was like nickname, like something about spinning or something. Don't know, not a fan. So, Matty Ryan didn't really play, so can't make much of an impact. Odegaard, it's a loss, but they're trying to make it permanent, so the window don't shut for another 2 weeks. So he could be at Arsenal in 2 weeks' time, so keep an eye on this transfer, really. And who they brought in to replace some certain players. But leave Ben White for last. Sambi Lokonga. Bright future from all the sources I've seen in Belgium, saying he's got a huge ceiling above him. Again, like Onyeka and like Mwepu, competitive, strong midfielder who won't shy away from a tackle. Very good physically, very good mentally as well, on the ball technically as well. It's got all the traits to be a top player. And to go to Arsenal, he could further his career to join a bigger club. That's controversial. You know, he could make an impact there, move on to a Liverpool, a Chelsea, Man City, Man United, but Real Madrid and Barcelona aren't as big anymore. But Bayern Munich, this will be a stepping stone to the next level, in my opinion. Sort of the same with Nuno Tavares. He is here to further his career, because it's sort of the same with Lokonga. I need to go into more detail. I don't think he'll start straight away like Partey didn't last year. He had to work his way in and slowly come in. And when he did come in, he made a big impact. Same with Partey, when he came in, made a big impact, was their best midfielder, then got injured. And then is getting injured now, so he's becoming more of an injury-prone player, which you don't want. Hopefully Lokonga doesn't end up like that, because he's got a bright future. But Tavares will end up being key in his position, so it'll rise his stock in the future. He is the backup to Tierney, but if he was here last year, maybe they would have done better, because Tierney was burnt out last year towards the end, you could tell. But saying that, he could quite easily take the number 1, number 2 jersey off Tierney and become the main left back. But as a lot of the young players coming in, time will tell with them. Arsenal will be another frustrating year for them. It'll be another great year for Arsenal fan AFTV, not Arsenal fan TV, AFTV. And it'll be a great year for rivals getting to enjoy Arsenal's dismay, like every year. Into 9th now, we will go with West Ham. I don't think they'll break into Europe this year, mainly because their bright spark last season was Jesse Lingard, and I don't see them signing him permanently. He might go somewhere else, but I can't see him going back to West Ham. Really. I mean, looking who they've lost, Anderson was out loan last year, and I'm pretty sure Buena didn't really play much last year. Off the top of my head, I don't think he did. But again, they've lost Lingard, the attacking spark that they needed last year. He came in clutch very well. Looking at who they've brought in now, Craig Dawson was good for them last year, probably their best defender, which says a lot when he's 31 years old, being the best defender, you know, coming in from Watford as well. It's not a great look for West Ham, but they did do well last year. They got some good results, and they're in Europe, so it must have worked. They brought in Areola, maybe to replace Fabianski, or maybe it might be his backup. I'm not too sure what happened there. There'll be a fight for the jersey, but I think Areola will come out on top, because I think he is the better goalkeeper than Fabianski. But again, I think he won't start. He will probably work his way in. He'll get a cup game that he'll play really well, and he'll start him in the league. and they realise that, oh, he was great last year for Fulham. They start him in the Premier League to take Fabianski's place. They did well last year. Again, it was down to one player, and that one player isn't there no more. So for them to try and do well without him, it'll be difficult. But I think they will get, again, some big results. They did get results last year. But I think if they finish in no position, it'd be good for them. Because it's a bit of an exaggeration to say that they were going to push for top 4 last year, but they weren't. They were sort of floating around 4th, but towards the end they just filtered off. And they were lucky to get Europe. So West Ham, 9th. 8th, it's a tough one. Because there's obviously 8 teams left, and you look at that, there's 4 teams that you've got to pick for the top 4, and there's 4 teams you've got to pick for not the top 4. So based on that, I'm going to go Aston Villa. Or do I go Spurs? If Kane stays, Aston Villa. If Kane leaves, Spurs. But I'm going to go if Kane stays. I'm going to say Aston Villa, 8th. Oops, sorry, hit the mic. Aston Villa, with all their attacking talent. No, I'm thinking Aston Villa. Right. Let's talk about how they've lost. We'll talk about Grealish last because it's the biggest one. Samatta, I think he was injured last year. That's why he didn't play. And again, you're looking at Heaton, didn't really play. Engels didn't really play. Hamady was a cut player. Taylor was a cut player. Tuanzebe, out. Out? Why was he out? You weren't there last year. Fine. Okay. They've not really lost anyone big apart from this boy here, and that's Jack Grealish. To get 105 million for him, or 100 million for him, that's crazy money. He signed, I think it was a 6-year deal or a 5-year deal, which would take him to his 30, 31 for 100 million. That's a lot of money. That's a lot of money, but they've definitely recouped their money they got for him. When you look at who they've brought in, which we'll get on to now, they've brought in Buendia from Norwich. He's a great player. He is a very good player, and he will make the difference this year. Same as Danny Ings. They don't really play with the two, so it'll be Ings fighting with Watkins, but I think Ings is a better player than Watkins, and we'll see that this season. But for 31 million, it's a lot. But again, it's what you pay for a top quality striker, and I think Ings is a top quality striker. Leon Bailey is a very astute signing. A very astute signing. He's been linked with all the big clubs around the world for years. Finally, he's moved on, but not to a big club. Because Aston Villa aren't. When you look at, they spent, 60, 80, say about 85 million. No, more than that. About 90 million for the price of one player. If you combined Buendia, Ings and Bailey together, that's better than that one player. If you splice them 3 guys together, is better than Grealish. So I think they've done very good business to get them 3 for less than what they paid for what Man City paid for Grealish, because they got a positive net spend as well. Ashley Young, not young anymore. Ashley Old is he's depth, really. I don't see him starting. He started a lot of games for Inter last year, which surprised me. But he will just be depth for the positions. I think Target is better than Young. Young will be in the cup games, and if Target's tired, won't make much of an impact. Tuanzebe, I think he'll make a big impact. I think he's a great centre back. He has the pace and physicality together. Not many centre backs have that. It's a very good gift to have, the pace and physicality. So I see Aston Villa having a solid season. Will finish 8th because I think the teams above them will be better, and that's why in 7th it will be Spurs. If Kane stays, if he doesn't, that could change. But I'm saying if he stays, Kane will want a move January or the summer. Otherwise, he's just going to down tools. He'll play well this season because he'll want that move to the next level. Spurs. There we go. Tottenham Hotspur. Kane want that move, so he'll play well to push them further. As I say, because he'll want to move, so he will play. He won't down tools yet until next year. If you don't get the move in January or in the summer, that's when they will go. But the players they've lost first, before we look at who they brought in, they've lost Foyth, who was on loan last year, so that won't make a difference. See, the selling of Alderweireld did surprise me, because I think he had a lot to give. Obviously, they lost Vertonghen as well last year, so but I do think Alderweireld had more to give to Tottenham, but he's gone. Probably got the most I could for him. A few years ago, he was touted for 50 million. They've now lost him for 11, so not great business by them. Daniel Rose, he was with that club last year. That fallout with Mourinho. Gazzaniga was surprising because he didn't really play, but I think he's a great goalkeeper. Lamela, that was with the Brian Gill signing. Whiteman, not very much. Bale, the return of Bale last year didn't really work, unfortunately, because I remember Bale being probably one of the best players up there with Messi and Ronaldo in about 2013, 2012, that sort of time, when he got the move to Real Madrid, which really ruined him. If he would have stayed at Tottenham or moved to another Premier League team, he would have been one of the best players in the Premier League history. He would have kept going and kept going and kept going. Vinicius didn't really play. I mean, he scored that goal against Marine and did the Mbappe. That's all he's really known for, celebrating a goal against a 5th tier team, so it's not great. And then you look at who they've brought in. They've brought in Brian Gill from Sevilla for 22 million. It's a lot of money for someone that's not very experienced. He's very... I don't think he's physically ready for the Premier League. He's a very sort of petite, skinny guy who... Yeah, he's quick, but he'll just get knocked off the ball all the time. I don't see him making a giant impact. Pierluigi Golini, the understudy to Lloris, who I think this will be Lloris' last year with Tottenham. So I think his contract will expire a year ago, because he's on the wrong side of 30, and he also is out of his prime. He's not what he used to be. Golini could even be the starter. We shall see. But I really like the Romero signing, because Romero, he came out of nowhere, really. I'm pretty sure he came in for an injured Atalanta centre-back at the time, and he just played ever since because of how good he was. He's a loan, but it's expected to be a loan with the transfer at the end of the season. Looking about 40 million, which is good money, because, again, he's before his prime. He'll be hitting that prime soon, and they got him for a good price if it's permanent. I don't know if it's obligation to buy, but if they sign him for 40 million, that's great business, because Romero, like Tuanzebe, has got the pace, the physicality to stay in the Prem. So I think he'll do well, and that's why I think Tottenham will finish 7th, because Kane will want his move, Kane will play, but that'll be it next season. So into 6th place, very controversial, Leeds. Leeds, I'm sticking with it. Leeds had a very up and down season last year. It was a good season for a newly promoted team, but there was so much hype around Leeds United. Here we are. There was a lot of hype around them because Leeds finally back in the Premier League after a long time away. 2003, I think they got relegated. They're finally back in the big time. Good first season, got some good results. They were sort of mid-table finish. People thought they would push into the top 4, into Europe. Didn't really happen, but I think this season will be their season, because they've got the experience from last year. They will push on, and I think they'll get Europe. But the players they've lost, Douglas, don't think he really played last year. Alioski's a big loss. He's been there a while. Around the dressing room, he was good. Hernandez, he reminds me of Juan Mata at Man United. That older player, experienced player, been there a while. Now left, very good guy. Left, didn't really play really much last year. Nor did Boguts. Because he was. That's right off these last few players, really. The only really big ones they've lost is Alioski and Hernandez. The other ones really write-offs, really. When you look at who they've brought in, Junior Firpo, it's a good signing for 13 million because he could easily be better than that. But I don't think he's that good. 13 million for a Barcelona left back, and then you've realised it's Firpo. It's not great because I don't really think Firpo can push Leeds. It's that next level. I'm saying that, and I'm saying they're going to finish 6th. I don't think he'll play, but I don't think he'll stay as a one left back. So I don't really think he'll do well. Harrison, on the other hand, will do very well. He's been there a while, finally permanent. Harrison, I rate him so highly. Honestly, I don't see the difference between him and Jack Grealish. Yeah, I said that. Jack Harrison, not much different to Jack Grealish. They're very good players, very good players. And I think, Leeds will push on from last year. The players that were underperformed last year will perform this year to push them, to propel them into the Prem. I'm pretty sure Bielsa just signed a new contract as well. So the Leeds project, we'll call it, it's going to carry on. We'll move on to 5th place, the final team who will miss out on the Champions League. And I think when you look at the last 5 teams that are here, it's quite obvious who it would be. It's going to be Leicester. Again, another year without top 4. It's not their goal to get top 4 really, but it'll be another year of European football for them next year, the year after, sorry. So yeah. So we'll look at who they've lost. First, Fuchs. To be quite honest, I thought he left quite a while ago before this season. So, May James, write-off player. Gazelle, write-off player. Sad to see Wes Morgan go. Retired this season, or ended last season. Sad to see him go. Premier League winner. Not many players that have played in the Premier League era can say that. They've won the Premier League, when you look at certain players. But Wes Morgan, good captain, good around the dressing room. Sad to see him go. I don't know if he'll be part of the coaching staff, maybe. We'll see. Back from loan to back to Roma from his loan. Now we're getting to the big ones, the players they've brought in. I absolutely adore this signing. Patson Daka will be the surprise package of this season. He will score probably about 15 goals this season, and no one's going to see it coming. Everyone thinks he's going to flop because he's come from Salzburg, but look at Erling Haaland. Then look at Minamino. But Erling Haaland was Daka's partner. And obviously everyone thought, oh, Erling Haaland's so good. But everyone forgot about Daka. And when Erling Haaland left, Daka, still scoring goals for fun, didn't stop him. He carried on. I'm really sad that Liverpool didn't go in for him. But I think he'll get the game time at Leicester that he rightfully deserves. 27 million's a bargain. 22 years old. He's got many years left in him, and I think he'll probably one day might get a £50 million move to a bigger club. Sad to say, because Leicester are slowly pushing up in the echelons of big clubs, but Leicester aren't a big club. He will move on because he'll do so well in the Prem. Soumaré is very good. Was linked to Manchester United and Manchester City, and I'm pretty sure Liverpool. But obviously, it's game time. If he looked at his options and thought, you know what, I'm going to play games. I want to be in the Premier League. I want to play games. Leicester, because they're a good club. They're very good owners. Obviously, that's a different story. It's unfortunate, but they're doing well now. Still doing well. So Vestergaard is going to be the Morgan replacement. So it'll be Vestergaard and Soyuncu starting. Vestergaard, he's a giant. He's very good. 50 million is good. 29 years old though, so hopefully he's still going to perform to the level that he did at Southampton. Ryan Bertrand, another former Southampton player. He's a very good left back. Willie start at left back, maybe, depending on, again, how the players that played last season will perform. So I think Leicester will have a steady season, be unfortunate to miss out. I think they'll be in the top 4 again, sort of quite a lot of the season they've been top 4 and they'll fall out again like they have done. You know, that's been Leicester's past really, it's just being very unfortunate not to get top 4. So now we do get into the top 4. This is tough. This the 4th position is tough. I'm a Liverpool fan. I'm trying to be very unbiased. I'm trying to be most honest I can be, and I'll have to go with us at 4th place. It's hard to do. Put us here, but that says all you need to know really is who we brought in. We'll get to that after we look who we lost first. Harry Wilson was loaned last year. To lose him for only 12 million. I'm pretty sure we could have got 30 for him last year. To lose him for 12 is not great. I think he's a good player. He would do well at Fulham and the Championship. Taiwo Awoniyi. I saw a picture of him in pre-season. I didn't realise how big he was physically. Very strong, very tall player. I would love to have seen him get a game, but obviously he's been sold, so that won't happen. So Grujić, we won't get to see him play because I think that's an obligation to buy. It's sad because he was touted to be the next Steven Gerrard, the next Liverpool captain, when we brought him, and then before he came, he was like, "Oh, this guy's good. He's got a ceiling." He never fulfilled his potential. He didn't really play, so can't really say he never fulfilled his potential. He didn't play. This is a very big one. The Wijnaldum transfer, free transfer, I should say. That's such a messy situation. The fact that we've lost, I'm going to say it, controversial Liverpool fans, but a very good midfielder. I know we didn't get the goal, we didn't get the assist, but that wasn't his job. His job was to run around and annoy the opposition. Sort of like Kante, but Kante's obviously better. Wijnaldum was box to box. Get the ball off players, run around, make passes, don't get too forward, back and forth. And without him, we wouldn't have won the Champions League. We wouldn't have had that comeback against Barcelona. So the fans that slate him, we wouldn't have won the Champions League without him. Very key midfielder that obviously, looking at our ends, we haven't replaced. This is a smart signing, Konate. Because we're, again, like last season, we won Van Dijk injury away from Kroos. So Konate will add that. Van Dijk is injured, Konate's there. Joe Gomez gets injured, Konate's there. We have depth now in centre-back, and 36 million is a bargain. He will become an upper echelon player. Like when Van Dijk come in, he elevated. Konate will start. By the end of the season, we will see Konate and Van Dijk together. Maybe not at the start of the season, because I don't think Van Dijk's ready yet. But at the end of the season, when all 38 games are done, it'll be Konate and Van Dijk with the two main partners. Harvey Elliott now. He's had a very, very good pre-season. He has shown us what he can do. How good he looks is great. I hope he stays with us. And I hope he doesn't go out on loan again. Because I think he can play in the centre mid. Not a cam, not a winger. I think he can play centre mid. He has been playing in centre mid. And I can hopefully, in the future, see him becoming a centre mid. Because he plays so well. He's got the pace, the tenacity, the technical ability on the ball. Obviously, he hasn't got any end product at the moment. He hit the crossbar with a shot, and that's really it. But we haven't seen him play. This season, we should see. This will be Harvey Elliott's breakout, in my opinion. He will finally show the world what he can do. Same with other players that are coming back. Like Van Dijk's back, Gomez is back. I think Keita's going to have a big season. This is make or break for Naby Keita. Will we see the signing of Sam Niguez? Will we see other signing in attacking areas? We'll see. Trent back. Robertson back, obviously injured at the moment, but he'll come back stronger. This team as a whole will come back stronger from last year. I'm saying they're going to finish 4th. They finished 3rd last year, but they didn't have a great season. I'd love to see us push it up top, but I'm trying not to be too biased. I'd love us to finish up here, but if I put them up there, I'm being too biased. So 3rd, Man United. All of this time, I was going to put Chelsea there, but Lukaku's changed that for me. So let's get into it. Man United, they've lost no first team players. Really, they've lost no first team players. Bench player, reserve. No first team players they've lost. You can't really talk about them. But when you look who they brought in, why is Varane not there? Okay, let's just add Varane in there as well. So Sancho, obviously the biggest one. Finally, after missing out on him last year, he's here now. Sancho, unfortunately, will be very good. He'll be annoying because he plays for United, but you can see what he can do when he puts on the England shirt. He's very good, and he will cause the league problems in the way he plays. Technical dribbler, very quick on the ball. Don't listen to what these FIFA fans say where he says, oh, he's 80 pace. He's faster in real life. Don't worry about FIFA. He's an insane dribbler. When that ball's at his feet, it's like glue on the boot, on his boot and the ball. It stays with him all the time. 76, probably rise into about 80. It's good money. 21 years old, and he's already at a big club. I hate saying that, but he's at a big club. He will do well. He will elevate them. I know they finished 2nd last year, but the season's different this year. It'll be more competitive with the teams out there. Varane's a great signing for United. The fact that you can buy Ben White for cheaper than Varane is crazy. Champions League winner, La Liga winner, Rafael Varane. Insane. Varane is a great centre-back. He really is. And it's sad to see him play for United. I would have loved to have seen him stay at Real Madrid and stay away from United. But United was the only club he could go to. Because every other club's got great centre-backs. United need a centre-back. Him and Maguire together. I don't rate Maguire high, but the pace that Varane has will mean that it will bring, Varane will bring the best out of Maguire. 100 million %. He'll bring the best out of him. You can tell. They'll finish 3rd, they'll have a good season. They might be top of the league in January and be like, oh, we're going to win the league. But they'll fall apart towards the end like it usually does for them. So yeah, Manchester United in 3rd. Now we move on to the top 2 places. It's obviously not going to be City, it's going to be Chelsea. Which means obviously City getting them in the league. We'll talk about them in a minute. Chelsea. The one chart they have will finish 2nd. Why? Because of one man, and he's right there. If Lukaku was there last year, Chelsea could have won the league. Because Werner missed so many chances. I know I'm talking about a player that's come in, but I have to. It's such a big transfer. Lukaku will push Chelsea almost to the title. I think Man City and Chelsea are going to be very close. City have run away with it the past few years. I think Chelsea will be very close to catch them. It could be 90-87, 90-88, very close. I think it will be. They won't run. Man City will not run away with this league. But Lukaku finally back from where he's all started for him in the big leagues. Come from Belgium, from Anderlecht, went to Chelsea. Obviously went downhill from there, but he just got better and better. He didn't let it get to him. His dream move. He's back in his prime. He's a scary, scary player, especially when you got players like Ziyech, Havertz around him. You know, Werner might play on the wing now. We'll see. But Lukaku is a scary prospect. With Mount behind, with Kante, Jorginho, it's scary. Let's look at the players they've lost. I'm not going to talk about Bettinelli, there's no point. Fikayo Tomori is a big loss, but he wasn't there last year, so it's hard to say they've lost a key player because he didn't really play. Moses, he was there for like 10 years. Crazy. They've lost him. It's not much. Giroud, I'm surprised they let him go. Well, they brought Lukaku, so actually I'm not surprised, like I'm saying. But Giroud has so much more to give. He is, when you think of a goal scorer in and around the box, inside the box he's deadly. Headers, left foot, deadly. So to let him go, yeah, I can see why, because of Lukaku. But for less than, what, $1 million? That's crazy. AC Milan have got a great player there. Van Hinkel, like Moses, been there for so long, finally left. Don't think he played a game for him. Pantic, Izzy Brown, you know, can't really talk. Billy Gilmour will get the experience he needs because he will play for Chelsea next year. This will be his breakout year for Norwich. They'll realise, oh, he's a good player, we'll start him next year when he returns from loan. And there's no point talking about these three players because you can't really. But this is the biggest transfer. Lukaku back to Chelsea. They were going to get him before Man United got him. But it was Man United were going to get Morata and Chelsea were going to get Lukaku, other way around. Now Lukaku finally goes back to Chelsea, where he'll probably be the top goal scorer. Or second. He will score many goals. Many goals. But won't win the league. Because Man City, for how good they were last year, they've improved their team again with Jack Grealish. More attacking outlets. Let's go into the outs first. Angelino was out on loan last year, so you can't really say it's different. Same as Harrison, out on loan last year. Nementia didn't play. Aguero is a big loss, but last year really wasn't Aguero's greatest year. In terms of goal scoring, I think he was injured most of last season. He wants to leave Barcelona anyway, so it's been a messy situation for Aguero. Eric Garcia, he was good when he played a few times, but obviously lost him for free because he wanted to go back to Barca. Can't say much about the last few players. Then you got to talk about the ins. I said Lukaku was the biggest transfer. Jack Grealish is the biggest transfer of this window, and the reason that City will win the league because of how good Jack Grealish is. Jack Grealish with Kevin De Bruyne, that is absolutely scary. It is freaky to see them two play together. The fact that Grealish can do so much with the football, if Jack Grealish had end product, he would be the De Bruyne. Because he has so much technical ability, it's unbelievable. He draws fouls all the time, he gets fouled all the time. The ball sticks to his foot. It's crazy. And it's a shame to see him go to Man City, because that would be the reason they win the league again. They're just going to well, they won't run away with it, but they're starting to run away with some league title wins now. In terms of trophies, they're sort of coming up for league titles, but still need to get 20 and 19, 21 to be classed as an upper echelon team. So that's it. That is my Premier League predictions for the 2021-22 season. We'll do one last big rundown. So Norwich in 20th position, Watford in 19th, Southampton in 18th, Newcastle in 17th, Palace in 16th, Burnley 15th, Brentford 14th, Wolves 13th, Brighton 12th, Everton 11th, Arsenal 10th, West Ham 9th, Aston Villa 8th, Tottenham 7th, Leeds 5th, Liverpool 4th, United 3rd, Chelsea 2nd, and Man City top. So please let me know what you think of my predictions in the comments below. Let me know what you would change. Let me know how terrible I am. We'll come to the end of the season. We'll look at them again, see how many I got right, how many I got wrong, laugh how terrible I am. So please, if you enjoyed this video, drop a like, drop a subscription. My links are all in my bio and will be in the description of this video. Please like, share and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one. Peace.